It's not just real estate agents and teams that are moving over to LPT, it's brokerages all over the country are making the move. I'm going to break down for you the top 3 reasons that people are making the move over and folding their brokerages up and merging with LPT Realty. I'm going to get to that right here, those top 3 reasons in this video. Let's jump right in. Before we jump in, I'm Isaac Guzman with Real Estate CEOs, and I'm excited to always bring you the best, most relevant information about not just LPT Realty, but how to grow your real estate business. Generate leads, convert, grow your team, get started with video, and start crushing it with listings. We've got you covered on all things in Real Estate CEOs, and we also partner up with agents, team leaders, brokers all across the country to help them scale. So if you're at all interested, go ahead and check out the description. Let's jump into the topic at hand. Why real estate brokers are jumping and moving their entire brokerages over to LPT Realty. So reason number 1 is liability. Now, we all know this has always been a challenge. Being a broker, you have liability for your agents, and as they go out and do things, you're held liable for their actions. So, a lot of times there's the expense to that. You got your own insurance policies, but typically you bill that back to the agent. So there's that. But what's happening more and more, especially with the settlement and the big changes that are going on, is, and it's hard to grasp everything that's going on, being able to interpret it and being able to articulate it to the agents and make sure that they are actually following the guidelines as things change, because real estate's changing. The way that we fill out contracts, the forms, the way that we enter information into the MLS, all of that's changing, and brokerages are having to handle that. And now if you're a national brokerage, I guess that makes sense because you have 20, 30, 50,000 agents. And so you have an entire staff that's helping do this. You're putting on webinars and Zoom calls, and you have a staff that's ready to review documents and do all that stuff there. Well, this just put a big stack of work on brokers of small boutique brokerages that they weren't necessarily counting on, and they definitely not looking forward to. So I'm hearing from brokers all over the country that they're just tired of that and they're open to merging with a national brand like LPT. And so, as a matter of fact, I've brought over, at this point, it's going to be 4 independent brokerages to LPT. The 2 that I'll mention, because the other 2 have not announced publicly just yet, but the 2 that I will mention is the Wise Home team out in Florida, run by Ron Wysokarski. And additionally, there's Scott Jacobs out of Virginia. He brought over his entire brokerage, and liability was certainly one of the big reasons why they decided to do that. And if you want to learn more about their specific journeys, actually on our channel, we have their interviews where they announced live. It was a live stream, but then we went ahead and uploaded the recording here on YouTube for you to watch it, exactly why they did it. And the other reasons are also coming this way as well. Exactly why they did it. Reason number 2, profitability. The reality is this: brokerages have less profit than the team model, than most other models. They certainly have less profit than being an individual, and then they have less profit even more than teams, right? Because in the world of brokerage, the commission splits paid to the broker is getting squeezed. You think you're feeling commission pressure as a real estate agent? Well, so are brokerages, right? Because there's always new brokerages coming out like LPT offering things like $500 per transaction, capped at $5,000. Most brokerages cannot compete with that, at least not until they get into the thousands, possibly tens of thousands of agents for that model to start making sense. And let's be real, most boutique brokerages did not set out to become a 10, 20, 30, 50, 70,000 agent brokerage. They started because they wanted the freedom, the flexibility, the independence, the autonomy of running the brokerage and the brand that they want. But now that all these other competing brokerages are coming up with cap models and flat fee models and all these things, well, that's putting a lot of pressure on the earnings that they get. And so, it used to be that you were thrilled to get a 10% profit out of a brokerage. Now you're thrilled at like 3, 4, 5%, right? And that's only going to shrink. Whereas teams, they have bigger profit margins, right? They typically come with bigger splits because they provide more services. So when they're able to provide more services and request a higher split and demand a higher split to be able to provide those services for the agents, now you're starting to see those profit margins go back up. So a lot of brokers are sitting there going, well, what if I just ran my brokerage like a team? And that makes a lot of sense. They're increasing their profit that way. But then they also get into that first issue, which is the liability side. And I'm seeing it time and time again. And if you're an independent brokerage, I would encourage you to kind of do this thing where you turn around and you look at your paycheck, right? You look at the last paychecks you've gotten, and you break down, and my buddies have done this as well, and look at what percentage of this income could I specifically ascribe to the brokerage services that I provided. Not the fact that I gave them a lead, not the fact that I handled their transaction coordination, the fact that I was the broker of record on this deal. What percentage of this income can I say directly ties to that activity? And it's minimal at best. I mean, we're talking single digits in most cases in terms of the percentage of the income can be tied to the brokerage activities. So they start looking at it and they go, well, the headaches, the training, the liability, all these things compared to the small piece of the pie that I can dedicate to that, it's out of whack. It doesn't make any sense anymore. And so they're taking a look at that and they go, well, if I took off that small percent, let's say it's 5%, they can ascribe 5% of their revenue that they took in to being the broker. And they go, okay, there's that 5%. That's not nothing. Okay, 5% of my income. But man, what percentage of my headaches come from being the broker of record? And that's in the double digits easily, right? 40, 50, 60%. Now that's always subjective. But when you start thinking about that, wait, if I can get rid of 30% of my headaches, 40% of my headaches for just 5% revenue, that's worth it. And so they're seeing that trade-off in a really big way. Now the third one, and now keep in mind this isn't an exhaustive list of every single little thing that a broker would look at in making the move over to LPT, but know that these are the biggest three that I'm seeing over and over again. Now here's the reality. These first two, those are not specific to LPT. Making the move from being a boutique independent brokerage over to a national brokerage, LPT is not any different than any other brokerage. In the situation where it's less profitable, so it's more profitable to kind of flip your brokerage to a team model and go inside of a national brokerage, again, not specific to LPT, but this third one absolutely is. And it's this. So if the first one's liability and the second one's profitability, the third one would be scalability. And there's a number of reasons why people are choosing LPT over any other national brand. And I'm going to break that down for you in a couple sub points, I guess you can call it. Number one is this: runway. Do you have the runway as an independent broker to be able to facilitate really good marketing to help your agents get more listings? Because that's what it's all about in today's real estate market. It's taking listings hands down. So are you prepared, right, as an independent broker to be able to provide print marketing, digital marketing, and all of additional supporting marketing to generate listings, to win listings, to sell the listings faster, and to get more listings from that? Because that's what LPT is doing. So if we reference back to my buddy Ron Wysakarski out there in Daytona Beach, Florida, one of the main things he talked about was when I looked at the platform of LPT and what they provide in the form of real estate marketing for my agents to help them get more listings, because that's what it's all about now, right? It's always been all about listings, but let's be real, now that the settlements happen, now that we're dealing with all the fallout from that, it's even more important that we take listings. So when I took a look, I'm paraphrasing what Ron said, but basically what he said is, hey, when I took a look at LPT and all the services that they provide, especially on the marketing side for my agents, he realized, man, I can't compete with that. As a matter of fact, if I'm holding my agents onto my agents and not taking them over to LPT, I'm actually holding them back from getting the resources that they need to actually compete in today's market. And so he felt a duty, a responsibility to his agents to give them what they need, and that's providing them with the marketing runway. Now you start looking at things like LPT Plus and all the benefits that you get there, things like healthcare, things like leads and coaching from Robert Palmer, things like Real Scout accounts, Zoodilio accounts, the Zoom account, right? All these different things, AM cards. You start looking at that. An independent boutique brokerage can't go negotiate those big deals. How about CRMs for each individual, or even think about technology, right? Like CRMs, whether it's Follow Up Boss, Lofty, KV Core, whichever one you want to use. An independent brokerage can't necessarily go out and broker these deals and bargain on behalf of their agents because maybe they only have 9, 10, 12, 42 instead of tens of thousands, where they can turn around and negotiate really great costs on services that agents absolutely love and oftentimes need. Right? So it's that ability to do that that's really attracting brokerages to turn around and say, hey, we're going to function as a team, or maybe potentially even just disband it altogether and say, hey, I'm just going to earn the revenue share off of this. And some of us might function as a team, right? There's a lot of different structures that they can do. But in reality, that's what independent brokerages are up against. In addition to that, here's the other piece about scalability. Well, think about it this way. When agents leave brokerages, they leave and there's no longer any partnership there, and there's no revenue to be had there, right, from the broker. So a lot of times independent brokerages, they hire people, they train them from the ground up, take them under their wing, and then eventually that person leaves, right? And the brokerage doesn't continue to scale, and production goes along with that agent. And so what's happening there is they're going to some other place, some other national brand typically that does have these things, right? It's kind of that if you can't beat them, join them type of thing, where a lot of agents are already making the move to national brands like this, cloud-based brokerages that have flat fee, or cloud-based brokerages that have capped commission structures. But here's the thing, right now, because they're making the move to an LPT model, the retention is super high. And here's what I mean by that. So when I ran a team at another brokerage, well, if you were there, great, you have this lower cap. It was a small cap, it was a quarter cap, $4,000. Well, as soon as you left, your cap jumped up, quadrupled overnight to $16,000. Well, when agents would leave, we would hope that they would stay at that brokerage with us so that we can continue to earn revenue share as a partner with them. But they turned around and said, whoa, whoa, whoa. I now have to pay an additional $12,000 on top of the $4,000 I already paid. Well, let me explore my options. And then they go down the road and there's another company that's a big recruiting company and they go, well, hey, we'll cap manage you for 6 months. And the person goes, oh, that sounds great, because I was about to close a really big deal that I didn't want to pay my team anyways. So let me just go ahead and jump over there. Right? And now they just leave the entire ecosystem. And now we're no longer earning together as partners. I'm no longer helping them. They're no longer helping me by producing, right? And so that's a big challenge. Well, when brokers are considering where they're going to make the move, they see that as a potential hurdle. Well, LPT has solved that hurdle, right? Because what happens here is that any agent can choose a $5,000 capped commission structure, right? Where they pay $500 per transaction, capped at $5,000. Anybody can do that. Doesn't matter if they're on a team or not. They can still qualify for that. So what's happening is they can now be part of the team, have a $5,000 cap, and when the inevitable thing happens, we all do our very best to retain our team members, but when the inevitable thing happens, which is an agent will leave, not all agents, but an agent might leave, and when they're ready to go out into the marketplace, they don't immediately get a quadruple cap, right? And so when that other company comes a call in, well, first of all, they have no reason to go call around other companies because they're like, okay, I'm at 100%. I just left my team. I'm at 100% with LPT Realty. I have no monthly fee. So I have no reason to go shopping. But in the event that the real estate company that typically cap manages people calls, they go, hey, we'll cap manage you for 6 months. And they're going to go, well, I already am capped. And do you guys still have that $150 a month fee? Oh, you do? Great. So I'm good. Thank you. Bye-bye. Right? So they're actually staying inside the ecosystem. So when brokers are seeing that, they're saying, okay, well, I still want to continue to monetize the relationships that I have because I'm pouring into these people and I'm making an investment with them, right? And so I was doing that as their broker, but as they might outgrow my small boutique brokerage model, I can still continue to invest in them and receive the benefit of investing in them through revenue share. Right? So this is a huge opportunity for independent brokerages. And then in addition to that, the fourth one, the secret one, I know I only share 3, but let's be real, there's more than that. It's the opportunity to earn revenue share and earn stock that's pre-IPO at the moment. And so they're seeing that as a really big opportunity because they saw that same thing happen to friends inside the marketplace that joined another brokerage at the right time. They aren't any better than them. They're not that much of a better salesperson, maybe not even at all a better salesperson, maybe not a better business person, but they saw the opportunity and they seized it. Well, right now is the time for LPT Realty. Pre-IPO, it's expanding, fastest growing brokerage in U.S. history, and independent brokerages are seeing that and saying, you know what, not this time. I'm not missing the ball this time. I'm not missing this opportunity of a lifetime. And that's why they're making the move. If you're an independent broker, if you know an independent broker, get them introduced to the LPT model. And if you want to learn more about how I help independent brokerages make the transition, figure out how they're going to help their agents, how they're going to break the information to them, how they're going to share it, how they're going to build the excitement with it, just go down in the description below and click that link and book some one-on-one time with me. You can also always just reach out to me. My contact information is right there in every description, or you can give me a call, shoot me a text. I'd love to learn more about you, your business, see if LPT is the right fit, and help you coordinate the move. If you have any questions or comments, drop them in the comment section below. Until next time, happy selling.